Welcome to this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on gender and education, looking at teacher expectations. What do we mean when we talk about teacher expectations? In examining the relationship between gender and achievement, teacher expectations refers to the differing expectations that teachers have of their male and female students. It also refers to the way that they interact with those students based upon those expectations. For example, teachers may have higher expectations of certain students in their class, and this can lead to those students being pushed further, given more challenging work, and therefore achieving higher. We can see evidence of this in Rosenthal and Jacobson's seminal study, Pygmalion in the Classroom, which highlighted the importance of high expectations and the self-fulfilling prophecy of being viewed positively, leading to more positive outcomes for students. Conversely, lower expectations of students can lead to underperformance due to negative interactions with students. So how do teachers' expectations of boys and girls differ? Well, Mitsos and Brown suggest that teachers tend to have lower expectations of boys than girls, and will often turn a blind eye to minor infractions of the rules based upon the notion of boys will be boys. This is backed up by Jackson in her research into boys, particularly working class boys. Teachers will have lower expectations of these boys and will accept lower quality work from them, not pushing or challenging them to go any further. However, Francis found that boys were treated more harshly than girls in the classroom, yet agreed with other research that boys tend to dominate classroom space and the teacher's time, albeit in a negative way. So according to Francis, it is boys who receive more teacher attention, but it is negative attention that they receive. Girls, on the other hand, are often treated with more respect, despite being seen as invisible within the classroom. With increased feminisation of education and more females in education, girls will be subjected to higher expectations than boys, and as a result have higher aspirations. It's difficult to disentangle the internal from the external here, as the changing position of women in society and greater career aspirations of girls are reinforced inside of the classroom, particularly by female teachers. Skelton suggests that the gender of teachers, particularly in those subjects seen as being part of the feminine domain, can act as a form of role modelling for students, which leads to more positive interactions and higher performance. Whether a teacher's expectations of a student are high or low is one factor influencing performance, but how students react is a second. Research suggests that boys often react to lower expectations and being disciplined by seeking status from their peer group rather than from their teachers. Francis suggested that boys will gain status from their peer group by refusing to conform to the teacher's instructions, and instead actively resist attempts to control their behaviour. Male peer groups will reward behaviours that are associated with hegemonic masculinity, such as anti-school behaviours, and this leads to underachievement. Furthermore, Epstein suggested that boys are actively discouraged from engaging with teachers and schoolwork as it is seen part of the feminine domain, and the consequences of going against the constructed masculinity of the group are homophobic insults that threaten a boy's status in the group. Therefore, they do not engage to spare themselves from ridicule and subsequently underachieve. Of course, we need to evaluate these ideas, and one way to do this is to question the extent to which they are a generalisation of boys, girls and teachers' behaviours. In recent research conducted by Ward, he found that boys often adopted different responses to teacher attention. Whilst the boys, B-O-I-Z, in his study actively resisted education, the geeks valued education and went on to succeed, demonstrating that not all boys react in the same way. It's more likely to be working class boys that resist, given the lack of status they get from teachers, and these findings are comparable with the research of Ward, Willis and Epstein. Further evaluation, and what we refer to as higher order evaluation, is being able to establish the links between teacher expectations and other factors that influence differences in the achievement of males and females. Gender socialisation of boys as boisterous and girls as more passive yet cooperative can influence teacher expectations. Similarly, levels of self-esteem, with overconfident boys and more submissive girls being viewed very differently in the education system, with girls being perceived as being the ideal pupil, whereas boys may be seen as being demonised. Finally, the role of peer groups. With some female peer groups being more cooperative and supportive, this could alter teacher expectations of girls' performance for the better, whilst laddish subcultures and their associated behaviours would lessen the expectations of boys. It's difficult to view teacher expectations in isolation. They are one of a number of cumulative factors when examining gender differences in education. That concludes this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on gender and education, looking at teacher expectations. Thanks for watching.